OMFL.
You can't touch this.
And you're in the mix with Kinda Real Name. Here's another OMFL production.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Press Pass Live number 166. I think we're on, something like that. This is all having to be recorded because my internet is not playing very nice right now, and because of no nice internet, we'll take the chat off. That means we cannot be live right now, which completely sucks. But it just kind of is what it is, and it's where we're at. So we'll figure this out together, and we'll get through it, and we'll still get you a really good Press Pass Live. Unfortunately, no guests. You're kind of stuck with me, but we're going to jump right into it with our fire drill. I'm going to go to the Week 6 matchup between the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Man, this would have been a fun one to be able to call. This would have been a fun game to be able to put on OMFL Game of the Week. Had my internet been nice to me, and be able to show, oh, and it actually looks like it wasn't played. Oh, this was a sim. Okay. Scratch that. We're going to pick another one. We're going to go down here to Pittsburgh and Cleveland, which is going to kind of be part 2. I was also looking at the Indy and Minnesota game. That would have been a really good one. I didn't realize until this very second that that game didn't get played at all. I even made a comment about it. No one said anything. So Pittsburgh, our new guy, against the Cleveland Browns, and Massimo and his new team, He's still figuring some things out. He squeaks away with a 27-24 victory. Only 6 points scored in the second half after a 28-point first quarter. Listen to that, a 28-point first quarter with 6 total points in the entire second half. But 3 of them was enough to get the Cleveland Browns a victory. Offensive rushing yards was really non-existent in this game. This was all about the passing yards. 84 for the Steelers, only 60 for the Cleveland Browns. Offensive passing yards, 385 to 266. 19 first downs for the Steelers, 13 first downs for the Cleveland Browns. 0 turnovers for the Steelers, 1 for the Browns. When you see a crazy game like this with crazy stats, you expect to see a lot of turnovers. You actually didn't see a lot of that. 8 big third downs for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he actually won the time of possession. So Cleveland was lucky to come out of this one with a victory. With all this defense, only 6 points scored in the second half. You would think that means a lot of turnovers, a lot of crazy plays, but that's not really what this one had at all. Jared Goff was 438 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, but he was sacked 7 times. Offensive line, get that man some protection. He probably wins this game. Patrick Mahomes back in his old owner's hands, 284 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, a long of 75. Massimo still out there slinging that ball around and trying to make big plays. Again, we talked about, right, no rushing yards at all in this game. And so you can see David Johnson was a leading rusher, 8 for 55, 9 for 50 for Harper, and Cohen 13 for 23. So it's a rough day in the office for Mr. Cohen. Try that again. Smith Schuster, 8 receptions, 199 yards, 1 touchdown. James Washington, 5 for 106. Man, Penguins really built a tremendous offensive powerhouse over there that he kind of left. And the new owner here goes by a bunch of different names, but he has really gotten this team rolling on the offensive side of the ball. And then Beckham Jr. doing his best impression of, oh man, why am I forgetting his name? It doesn't matter. Anyway, the Chiefs receiver, Hill, there it is, Tyreek Hill, who just put up freaking record-breaking numbers. He's trying to do his best over here. Only 3 receptions on the day, but 1 was off very long when it was the rack of 76 he ended up having for the entire day, but he had the long pass of 75, so he had 3 for 105. A quick look at the defense. Greedy Williams kind of leading the team over there for the Cleveland Browns with 8 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Look at the sack numbers, a lot of sacks again going for the Cleveland Browns. Chase on 2 sacks. Beck had 2 sacks. Leonard for the Steelers had a sack. I'm not even going to try that name. He had a sack. Bernard? I got that right. Avery had a sack. Allen, Mack, Garrett, a lot of people having a lot of sacks. And then only the 1 interception of the day came from DeMarcus Rackley. So Cleveland Browns with a big victory there. They needed that one to kind of keep their season rolling here, and they come away with a really big victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers team that is playing lights out for that team and really just playing good football right now. And that's a big victory that's going to go a long way if Cleveland plans on being into the playoffs here. I just want to take a quick look and talk about some division leaders here. This would have been fun with more than just me on it, but I'm going to give you kind of my input of what I feel like is going to happen here. I want to look at each division leader and just talk about what's shocking about the division leaders, what's not shocking about the division leaders, and which of these division leaders can kind of keep the pace as we're in week number 7, so we're almost at the halfway mark. Which one of these guys can keep the pace and go all the way? I think it's going to make for the interesting conversation. You get the Cleveland Browns here at 4-2, leading their division in a pretty tight race, though. Again, big victory against the Steelers. They lose that game. This is almost tied across the board outside of, no, it would have been tied across the board. Everybody would have been sitting at 3-3. I do not think that the Browns are going to win this division. I think that it isn't shocking to see them. I think the more shocking part for me is the Steelers that started out red hot. They've scored 173 points, but they've allowed 171. A team really built around defense. They were started out 2-0, already on a 4-game losing streak. That's the shocking part for me. Also, the Ravens at 3-3, kind of a hit and miss team. We never really hear from Mackey. You know, I know he's got a lot of stuff going on, but he's such a character in this league. He's such a passionate guy. when he's focused, that team's playing well. And right now, he's not really focused, and that team isn't playing well. Go over the AFC South. What are you going to report here, right? This is kind of rinse and repeat of what we've seen for a very long time here, ever since Dwayne has moved over to the Indianapolis Colts. He's sitting at 7-0, 230 points for his team, only 160 allowed. Tremendous team who's really rolling and quietly is just dominating the AFC. It's going to be interesting to see, can people stop him? We see the Titans right on his heels at 4-1. Again, another team quietly having a great season, 180 points for his team, only 121 against him. So again, he's right back there scoring tremendous points and playing really, really good football. And then you got the Jags right there and the Texans. I do think that the Colts finished this one off. I think the Titans will be right there pushing him. But the Colts are just tremendous this year. They just have way too much firepower. Nothing really surprising there. Move over to the AFC East, and we get a couple little surprises starting to come out. The Patriots at 0-5. No one's seen that coming. Only 92 points for his team. His quarterback was really hurt by the removal of abilities, and he's just not playing really good football right now. Probably should have used one of those abilities to get back his throw a tight spiral, because it's really hurt him. The Bills at 2-3 have kind of had some big wins in the season, but struggled. But then you got the Dolphins and the Jets. Dolphins at 5-1, Jets at 4-1. The Dolphins have scored 183 points, only allowed 122. Just talked about how dominant the Titans were having, but look at the Dolphins hanging right there with them. The Dolphins are one of my good surprises of this season. And then Clyde at 4-1. We know what kind of football Clyde and Jason, whatever he's going by this week, we know what kind of football he plays. But can he sustain it is going to be the really, really big question. And I don't think that he can. I think that we always kind of see his team take that big lead, and then something happens about middle of the season, kind of comes back to the pack. Sometimes he wins this division, sometimes he misses the playoffs, but it's the 128 for and the 121 against that's really great defense, but not good offense. And that's what worries me the most about his team. I love what the Dolphins are doing. I think the Dolphins win this division and have the firepower to get all the way into deep into the playoffs of season 91. Then we go to the AFC West. You got the Chiefs at 5-1, Niners at 3-3. Everybody else is pretty much out of it. Big surprise, the Broncos at 0-6. Got to take some time off due to personal reasons. And this team was in the OMFL Bowl last year. And so why would you not think that he's going to be right back again? We're a little full cam action here. I mean, he's right there, right? He's been pushing for a bowl win. He had tremendous offense last year, only 152 points for his team, which isn't terrible, but 226 points allowed, which is worst in his division, probably bottom 3 or 4 in the entire OMFL. So that's really going to hurt his team as he tries to make a push for the playoffs here. Did the Chiefs have the firepower to make it all the way? I'd say so. Penguins is a really great player. The Miners stumbled coming out of the block. They lost their last game as they try to get back into this. I think there's too big of a hole for him to overcome. A 2-game setback already. He's 2 games behind the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs win this division. Probably finish with that 2nd seed, maybe the 3rd seed if the Dolphins are able to take that 2nd seed for him. And we're setting ourselves up for a tremendous playoff game between either like Colts, Dolphins, Colts, Chiefs, Dolphins, Chiefs. Those are going to be tremendous games to be able to watch. And so see exactly how that plays out. Move over to the NFC. We'll take a quick look at the NFC North. The Lions at 5-1, Packers at 3-3, Vikings at 2-3, Bears at 1-5. Vikings kind of mortgaging it all here in this last season. Something that we don't like to see is when guys start making crazy trades. He hasn't made crazy trades, but he's made a lot of trades and really turned this roster over in the last couple of weeks. He's sitting at 2-3. He's built himself a 2-game hole here that he's going to have to crawl out of. 142 points for, 170 against. He's trying to build up that defense. He's got 2 of the best cornerbacks in the OMFL now that Pyle resides over there. It's kind of sad to see Pyle not retire a Falcon. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, as we know. And to see him finish out his career in the Vikings is just going to be weird to see. But I think that don't know. I think D-Money's in full tank mode, and he does have some real life things going on, but I think he's in full tank mode, and I hope that is proven wrong, because we don't need that again. The Lions sitting here at 5-1. Look, we got to talk about the Packers. They have had a little bit of an up and down season. You start out 3-0, look red hot, then you lose 3 in a row. And this is what we get from Priest. It's a little mixed bag of nuts when it comes to his season. You just never know what you're going to get out of him. And here, clearly, he's stumbled and come back to the group. The Lions at 5-1 are playing tremendous. Not a ton of offense. 164 is nothing. It's probably middle of the pack, probably working maybe a little above middle of the pack. But 109 points against is tremendous defense. He's won 3 in a row. He's sitting at 5-1. He's really got a hold of this division after a big victory against the Bears last week. Look at the NFC South, a weird division. You got the Falcons at 2-3. He, again, has some personal issues, missed a bunch of games. I think he's taking his PlayStation with him as he tries to take care of some of these personal issues. So maybe he's playing, but is he in it? Does he care? I know that he's been getting the heat from winning every single Super Bowl for the last 6 years. And so maybe he feels like losing is a good thing and not trying is a good thing, but he's also gathering a bunch of first-round picks so that he can bring another great import with him. All of it makes me really, really nervous. My Saints at 3-3, mixed bag of nuts. A lot like I've said about other teams. You never know what team's going to show up. You never know what Nate is going to show up. And so I'd expect nothing really from me. It's going to be about the Panthers and the Bucks. I do think the Falcons are going to get in it. We're only 7 weeks deep, right? He's only got 5 games played. He's already had his bye week. So there's plenty of time for the Falcons to make up ground here. But the Panthers have a pretty firm hold on this division. 200 points for his team, 159 points against. He's playing really tremendously good football for a team that's not even built to really fit his style. So it will be interesting to see exactly how these Panthers finish off the season, and especially if he plays the Falcons, if the Falcons are able to play this game. I think the Buccaneers do get a wild card spot, but I like the Panthers. I think that they are a surprise in this division because of the Falcons. It'd be awesome to see the Falcons fully engaged and see these two teams battling it out, and Trey has this team going in the right direction. I think he does finish out this year winning this division. Going over the NFC East, you got the Redskins at 5-1, and then the Cowboys, really the only other team still in this at 3-3. I think, again, we've talked about Denver before and how he's got this team playing tremendous offense, tremendous defense. He is really rolling with 4 in a row here, 216 points for 130 against. I think he does finish out the season. The surprise for me is the Eagles at 2-5. They found their quarterback, but still not playing well. And then what happened to the Giants? I mean, that's the big question is, has he given up? Has he not given up? Only 93 points for that offense is really, really struggling right now. But I do think the Redskins have what it takes to finish off this division. And now we move to our last one, the NFC West. You got the Seahawks at 4-1, Cardinals at 3-3. Everybody else is pretty much out of it. I think, of course, the Seahawks have owned this division for a while. Rob has at points been able to push him, but I know Rob is extremely busy right now with work. I haven't talked to him in quite some time, and so I haven't even really seen him around a ton. I think he's also quiet. It's not shots at him. I just think he's quiet and super busy and just doesn't have a ton of time right now. I think because of that, we're seeing that hurt, his defense really in the worst way, and not being able to play that game against the Seahawks last year. I mean, that's completely changes. If he is able to play that game and get a victory, he's sitting at 4-2. Seahawks at 4-2. This division looks and feels completely different, but now he's in a 2-game hole. I think the Seahawks have what it takes. That defense is tremendous, and they're playing really, really good football. And I think they'll be able to finish out the season with a victory. This is going to bring us to some impact rookies. Let's talk about our rookies here in the OMFL. It was always fun to see, what rookies kind of come to the forefront, what rookies impact their team immediately, and who are the future superstars. And this season, in a normal year, is always really fun because guys know we play one more season after this. They get their they get their NFL rookies that, the real names that we get to see, and they get to play with them. And it just makes for a fun last 2 seasons. We're not getting that this year just because this is the last season. And I think COVID, we got to own that, right? It's changed a whole lot of things for everybody. And because of that, people are a little bit more disengaged than normal. I think states are starting to open. People are starting to get to go outside. People are just kind of not in a good place. And if you have the ability to go outside and do something, normal summer, they're doing that anyway, but now it's even worse. And so that's why this is going to be our last season. So let's talk about our rookies here. There's a couple of names that really stick out here. You got Tua Tagovailoa, 1,622 yards. He's playing really good for the Tampa Bay Bucks. He's got them there pushing for that division, trying to defend against the Tampa Bay against the Carolina Panthers, which is the team that he built and left. They're now sitting at 6-0. Tua is a really good player. He's a difference maker. I mean, he just throws darts, and he's able to really get that offense rolling. He's got a tremendous run game. And then if you don't get pressure on Tua, he's just able to make plays. Doesn't use his legs as much as I thought he might, but definitely is a threat that you always have to kind of think about. Nothing really to report there about the rookies. You don't see any rookies really just blowing you away. Evans is really the top guy, the 266 for the San Francisco 49ers. I thought you might see even more. Zach Moss is a really, really good player for Tampa Bay. I know he gashed me a couple of different times, but really, Jonathan Taylor is the guy that I thought you'd really see with a lot of yards. You just don't see a lot from the rookies that are in the rushing category. And then when you look at the receiving, I mean, you knew what Henry Ruggs was going to be, 599 receiving yards already. Chenault right behind him at 486. Higgins at 418. You got a lot of pass catchers. A lot of speed was introduced, and these guys are having really, really good seasons, even if you compare them to OMFL rookies. Even though you don't see a ton of quarterbacks way up here. I mean, yeah, you got Burrows and Eason. Love has struggled. Those are kind of the top three between Tua, Joe, and Jacob. But really, Tua is kind of running away with him. The biggest for me is the defensive side of the ball. Isaiah Simmons for Houston, 28 tackles. Grant Delpit, 27 tackles. Zach Bond, 19 tackles. You look at sacks. Chase Young for San Francisco has already got 3 sacks. Caleb Chasoff with 3 sacks for the Cleveland Browns. And then the biggest, my rookie of the year so far, is Ashton Davis out of Miami. I think he came from USC. I think he's the guy that I really like in real life. I could be totally wrong on this, but I think he was a walk-on at UFC. Gets drafted by Miami. This dude's already got 8 picks. I didn't have 8 picks in like 3 seasons with my top cornerback. And this guy's rookie season, halfway through the season, he's already got 8 picks. Hey, OMFL, stop throwing in that guy's direction. He's picking you off left and right. I don't know if he's using this kid. I don't know if this kid is just making plays, but man, this is my rookie of the year. Ashton Davis is all over the field. Let's just dig into him just a little bit before we kind of get to our last little thing here. I mean, you can see it right here. He's got 4 tackles, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 interception, 2 interceptions. He's really just picking these teams apart. We can look even at his attributes. I think, he is a hidden dev rookie. 93 speed, 93 acceleration. Agility, 94 acceleration, 72 strength is really good for a free safety. I mean, he's only sitting at 72 overall, but this guy is just doing it all. I mean, you can look at his catch. His catch is only 54. He's catching everything that comes his way. His man coverage is 62. His zone coverage is 64. This tends to lead me to believe that maybe he's being usured and he is just making plays left and right. So tip of the cap to Ashton Davis. This guy is playing tremendous football right now, and I'm just playing really, really good. And I think it's going to lead him to be rookie of the year here in the OMFL. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually skip the next slide, and we're going to come back and do that last and cover a couple of mailbag questions here, since especially we weren't able to get to all of them last week. I think we skipped a couple of these. I may even hold off on a couple of more of these really good ones, just so that I can have like a guest with me and we can really start to dig into some of these. Looking at Dwayne's, I think we talked about. I do want to talk about this one though. I want to talk about number 6, and this was the really good comparison between Bo Norton of the New York Giants, who could be wrong on this too, but I think he was drafted as a safety, maybe moved to cornerback, maybe still a safety, and then Keenan Powell, the All-American, All-Everything Falcons cornerback that was just traded to the Minnesota Vikings. And he asked this question: does Bo Norton have a better Hall of Fame case than Keelan Powell? I think both are Hall of Famers, number one, but I think you make a really good case, Dwayne, that Powell here at 209, Norton's got 267 when it comes to tackles, total tackles in a season. interceptions, everything. 47 interceptions, 29 interceptions for Pyle. But I think there is this point of view that people don't throw towards Pyle. That may be true, but still, Bo Norton is still making plays. He's got more sacks. He's got more forced fumbles, more interceptions, more tackles. Keaton Pyle also has 10 touchdowns. I mean, he is the Deion Sanders of today with, all of those interceptions, all that big play ability, just shutting down one entire side of the field. And I think that has to be taken into consideration. I'm going to save the best. I know we talked about the best situational coach. I think we talked about a couple of these already. I think this is a good one. Do you think more people passing lanes? I think we talked about that one, the rushing lanes. I think that this is just the new NFL, and people just like to air the ball out. And what, with the adjustments made, is the only new surprise that we're seeing the wide receiver catch animations more. I think that the DB catch animations between receivers, like that whole interaction, has been a big change that I didn't expect to see. It feels more like it did out of the beta or out of the box before a lot of changes were being made. And so I don't know if the abilities cut down on some of those interactions, but I've enjoyed them, and there's been some fun ones to be able to watch. Yeah, I think there was the question about the balance between no abilities, pass rushing stats. I think it played a big role. I don't think it's one thing. I think a lot of things are tied together, and that just makes it really, really tough to. It just makes it tough to figure out. I think these roster building questions and even the OMFL veteran players that are shocking us, I think I want to save those for when I've got more people here with me, and there are no new questions this week, which is totally fine. So we can go and kind of dig into our last one. So I'll make sure that tomorrow I update some of that stuff and kind of get into some of these bigger things that next week we'll roll them out when I have a guest. We'll get into some of those questions around like who's the best roster builder out there. That seems to be a big topic that people like to talk about, and it's totally up to complete personal point of view of what it's like to build a roster, because I think you got to look at the Dolphins and Kevin. I don't want to get into it, but like, look what he's done with a terrible roster, sitting at 5-1, and really has his team playing good football right now. We're going to go a little full cam action, even though it does make this look really terrible. Terrible angle. Put this thing up more or something. I gotta figure it out. Yeah, I want to do a little state of the league. I think that's where we're at. Oh, yeah, I don't have the thing up anymore. So, we're in a weird place, are we not? Like, everybody just seems to be in a weird place. I think just weird stuff going on in our world, you know what I mean? And so because of that, this would be so much more interactive if it was live and you guys could kind of talk to me. But look, I think COVID has affected so much more than we even really know, right? Like, we know that it's affected our homes, it's affected our jobs. I've taken a pay cut to be able to keep my job. I'm working 3 times as much as I ever have before. Working from home for the last 2.5 months, 3 months now means that no lunch breaks. I start early, I stop super late, don't get breaks. It's meeting after meeting, it's project after project, and I think a lot of us are feeling that. And even if you're not, right? And I don't think anyone here lost their job. At least I haven't been told. But that's the opposite effect of, like, you could lose your job. And if you lost your job, it's the pressures of not having work, not being able to find work. And even if your life maybe hasn't changed a whole ton when it comes to your work situation, I know we have business owners, it's affected them. But just going to the grocery store, and your kids are now home if you have kids, and just like all of these added pressures, all that were not existent. This would be the normal time where we're just tired of playing this game. It's hard to grind a game for an entire year, especially a game that has so many flaws and that they've changed so much. And just there's been this great divide of abilities and like who likes them and don't. I was a big supporter of abilities, but I personally feel like the game plays better with no abilities, and it plays more fair and even, and others disagree with me and they feel like stats don't matter now. It's just the fastest player, and like there's some give and take there, and there is no perfect solution, but we just get tired of playing this game when it comes March, June, and people start checking out, and summer gets here, and we want to travel and vacations, and we get out, and sports are here, baseball, and all these things are there for us. So this would be a normal time that would happen anyway. But now you bring in COVID, and people are extra frustrated. I've seen more shots against people's bows than I've ever seen in a long time. I've had personal conversations that just get out of hand for no reason. And that's one thing that I think I'm going to be very clear about. This is going to unplug, but I don't think you guys can see it anyway. So it looks like I'm out of focus. My bad, y'all. Come back in focus. I don't know. My bad. I can't control the camera, unfortunately. You know what? Give me a second. Here we go. Now we're back in focus. At least in focus as much as I can get it. But anyway, there's two things that if you don't know them about me, I'll just be honest. I've led this community for a very long time. I've done it just not because I'm good at the game, not because I win championships. I've won one in 20 years that we've been in existence, and it was when I wasn't even commissioner, and it was in like the last season where a lot of guys check out, but I don't care. It's still mine. It was before we had trophies or anything, banners or history, and I didn't actually even track any of that stuff. But leading this community for a long time, my own personality becomes it is how I lead. There's not like the separate sections of me, and so I say that to say like who I am in real life is kind of who I try to represent online. Here's the problem though, is that you guys don't know me in real life, and so you only know me through my interactions online. And I've always found that if you get people in voice chat, if you get people on party chat, if you get them on video camera, like things kind of change and their attitude changes. But I feel like I'm the same guy. I try really hard to be the same guy. But here's the problem when you read text or you read chat is we all do it. We read those things in our own tone and how we think the conversation is being approached, how we think the other person is approaching the conversation. The truth is we don't really know. We can assume, and maybe a lot of times we're right or correct. The truth is we don't know, and sometimes we can make the wrong assumption and conversations go bad for no reason. Here's the two things. I honor people that are faithful, right, wrong, or indifferent. I honor people that are faithful to me, people that are faithful to this community, people that are faithful and hang in there during tough times. And on the opposite side of that, I have the reverse reaction to people who are not. And that builds distrust for me. And they're not people that I want to spend a lot of my energies and efforts on. I don't build a community for people who aren't faithful. I built a community because a lot of you guys have been here for a very long time. And it's not about me playing or winning championships. And honestly, it's not even me about enjoying the game, really. It's about creating a safe place that you guys enjoy and you enjoy what we do. And to me, that's what I find the enjoyment out of, is the fact that 32 men, and we have women in our community too, can come together and enjoy a thing together. And that's special to me. And I'll be honest, like when COVID happened and pay cuts and all that pressure, and you just deal with negativity as a commissioner. That's what you do. I'm serving you guys. And so I get all the unfun conversations. I get all the unfun jobs. There's literally a list of 70 things that I have to do every off season. That doesn't even count the things I have to do every season. I look at every FPR report. I have to send out every film. I have to do every follow-up conversation. I have to do all the shows, all the graphics, the website, the Twitter, the Twitch, the YouTube. I have to update everything. I have over 100 hours in just the stream build, like just what you're seeing, just what you're watching right now. Just the video portion is over 100 hours of figuring this out, of creating these things. And so I do all of that because I want you guys to be proud of what we have. I want you to be proud of the production. I want you to enjoy the thing that we've created and know that it's high quality and it's good entertainment and that you enjoy these things. And then the second thing is that it's difficult. I don't respond well to conversations that are just very one-sided, and conversations that are just about what the person needs out of it. I love conversations that are open for conversation around why things are a certain way, or different perspectives, or different ideas. I don't do well with pop shots. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I don't do well with, if you want to call it passive aggressiveness, if you want to call it being snarky is a word we use here in the South, right? If you're just being a jerk, you're just taking shots. I don't handle that stuff well, and I actually don't have time for you. I don't want to have time for you, and much rather just go use my energies elsewhere. And honestly, if you're like that and you have a lot of conversations like that, then I often hope that this is not the place for you, and you get tired of being here and want to go spend your time somewhere else, because it's not healthy for you to be that way. So if you're not enjoying me, you're not enjoying my community in a way that you feel like you got to be, passive aggressive all the time, that's just not good for your own mental health. And so for your mental health, for my mental health, for the health of our community, I want you to go. And I think that happened to some owners who decided to leave. And I think it's a good thing overall for them, for us, for everybody. And people always have an opportunity to come back whenever they leave the right way. So I'm saying all that to say, I had a lot of those conversations. And after 20 years, I'm always open to new perspectives and new ways of doing things. But we have so many tremendous conversations with our board about why we do things the way we do. And I have to have a 50,000 foot view of the league and make decisions based not on your situation as an individual, but the situation as a whole. And so, whether there are rules around trades or there are rules around gameplay, FPR is the biggest thing around here. These things are for a reason. It's not because I want to dictate how you play or I want to watch film all the time like that. It's just because we feel like this is the fairest way to play a flawed game in a way that we can all enjoy, and it kind of opens the door up for stick skills, team building skills, play calling skills, the combination of those things, and those players that do that really, really well. So I will admit that I was one of the biggest issues of bringing negativity into the league. I really was ready to walk away from it all. And honestly, it's like a handful of owners that make this unenjoyable, and that just give me a really, really hard time. And I think that, I have talked about it before. I give 40 to 60 hours a week outside of work, and I'm a pastor, and I'm a father, and I'm a husband. Outside of all that, I usually spend another 40 to 60 to 80 hours a week on the league, and guys just don't care. They want what they want, and I get that. We're all like humans, and we all kind of want that. But at some point, when a place starts taking more than it's giving, you start to question why you do this. And so it took me a couple of weeks there, and I got myself in a better place. And the biggest thing I think that will come out of this is that I am planning for us to be here to stay. At the end of the day, though, it depends on if the other 32 guys want the same. And we do have a second league, and I have had, we've had 5, 6, 7, 8 people leave before multiple times, and it's happened multiple times over a 20-year history. And I'm fine if that happens again as we move into Madden 21. I know that we may not all make that leap. We may not all make that leap to PlayStation 5. But I will continue to do this community as long as we have a bulk of guys that want this community to be here. I'll continue to do the OMFL. I'll continue to lead it. I'll continue to bring on board members that help me have different perspectives and help me do the work that it takes to make this league successful, as long as you guys want it. And at the end of the day, it's the community that decides if we're here or not. But I've made up my mind. We're definitely coming back in Madden 21. I think we're getting some news on Madden 21 on the 2nd of June 2nd, I think, something like that. Check the Twitter account, check out the main chat, and you can see somebody posted on from their Madden Twitter that some news is coming out. So maybe we'll get a release date. I do kind of expect it to be a longer release date than normal, just because COVID has completely changed everything. FPR has been pretty bad last season. It always kind of happens. Teams start to check out. Teams start to get annoyed by the same old, same old. We've got a group of new guys. We have to help those guys get used to the play style. Even though they're from the Deuce and they understand the rules, there's an adjustment period that takes place. And so we got to help them understand what that adjustment period looks like and the changes that need to happen in their game in a nice, productive way. And look, I struggle with it too. Trey and I had some conversations and he asked for some feedback. I said some feedback on my stream. I know Penguins and he are close friends, and Penguins was telling him some of the things, even by my asking Penguins too. But I even asked for some time, man, let me have 24 hours. Let me chill out. I got my butt whooped. Nobody likes getting their butt whooped. That leads to being frustrated at my team, frustrated at myself. Like, let me just take a couple of days here to kind of think through before I give you some real feedback. And so I did, and I was just like, let's see how he plays other games, right? And so ultimately, we got to help guys with their FPR. We got to help them kind of fit the vein in this league. Still looking for engagement. We're having a lot of articles and stuff from the OMFL, but also a lot of disengagement. Chat's been pretty dead, especially today. So just looking to engage you around fantasy football, around the gold sheet, around some of these little incentives that we've created, kind of a lot like our championships. I'm tired of seeing the same guys win those things because, a third of the league actually participates. So again, I think there are some things that we need to do if we're going to be a healthy community. I fully understand. I think as a community, we need to understand what COVID has done to all of our worlds, and that this summer is going to look different, and that's okay. And we should be fully prepared for the summer to look maybe a little more disengaged than normal. I'm working on some things with Clyde. We probably will roll out an old school roster from back in the day for maybe a league for guys who want to stay playing over the summer, just to engage those who want it and not have the pressure of our normal CFM. And if Madden is delayed for like a month or two at a time, I don't see us being able to wait till end of September. December is a word I was heard thrown out there. 2021 is something. I don't see that happening. But even if it's just September or even December, which, those two things wouldn't surprise me, we can't wait that long. We would die as a league. And so we would start something. And that means even replacing some owners. And I think that's kind of the last thing is all of us need to understand that you all won't be invited back for Madden 21. I mean, there's a chance that I could invite everybody back, but there is ownership should not be, it is not a right to be in the OMFL. It's not a right to have leadership and an ownership who works this hard to create a place for you to have fun. This is a privilege. And I have a hard time with guys that don't respect it as a privilege, that don't honor it as a privilege, and just think that, they should get whatever, they kind of ask for. And so because of that, I do think there'll be a couple of owners that, we're going to have serious conversations about either changes that need to make moving in to Madden 21 or maybe guys just aren't invited back. And honestly, I'm not going to be a fool. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I grate on people's nerves if we have to have a lot of interactions, especially if those interactions are negative. Everybody likes those fun conversations as the commission. I don't get to have all the fun conversations. I get to have all the ugly ones, because that's kind of what I signed up for. So I get that some people may not want to come back, and they may want to, like Bill, they may want to just go play somewhere else. Bill left. I'll own it. I don't know if you'll watch this, but he left because of me. And I didn't like my leadership, didn't like that I wouldn't do certain things that he expected to be done. Chaotic left because of me. Bill stayed in the community. I kept Chaotic in the community, but he is not, I don't think he's playing anything right now with a new baby or whatever. So anyway, I fully own that some guys may not want to stay, and that's perfectly fine too. And either way, we're going to be strong. I'm going to keep working hard for you. I'm going to keep producing as much quality content as we can. And I see us being a really great league moving into Madden 21. And I think every league is feeling exactly what we're feeling right now, because this is a real world thing that's happening. And I just want to say, in a personal note, if you're not in a good place as you watch this, take care of yourself. And if you've got some real life issues that are going on, come have a conversation with me and we'll figure it out. It's not preferred. It's not the best thing in the whole world when guys need a break or need to step back for a couple of weeks to take care of personal stuff. Ultimately, you and your mental health and your family and your real life situation is the most important thing, and not playing a Madden game. So I hope that if you need it, that you'll take me up on any of those offers and come hang out with us. So I think that's going to be it. I think we're going to keep doing Press Pass Lives. I'm going to start a new FPR series for all 22. Kind of walk through some FPR. I may even do one tonight just to see kind of how it goes. And we'll keep doing what we do, and hopefully you guys will keep wanting to be a part of it. So really, the rest is up to you. I appreciate you being here. I really appreciate the board, all the hard work that they put into this place. But you guys decide to use your free time here. You don't need to be here. You don't have to be here. There's a zillion other leagues out there that you could go and play on. There's 7 of them just in our community, but you choose to be here, and that means something. So I appreciate you. Even if we don't have those fun conversations, I don't dislike anyone here. If I ever get to a place where I absolutely just can't take somebody, I just thank them for their time and ask them to find somewhere else to play, and we move on, right? That's kind of how this thing works. And so I have nothing but good things about the people of this league, and really honored that you guys play here, and hope that you can find fun. It sucks whenever I read the chat and people are not in a good place, or people are talking about retiring, or the OMFL is going to go away. I seen all the doom and gloom the other day. It just sucks to read that. I get it. You need a place to vent. I try to allow some of that. But there does come a line where it's like, okay, it's enough of it. Let's kind of keep that to a minimum. But I want you guys to enjoy this. I want you to have fun doing this, because when you're not having fun, I sure the hell ain't having fun, because I don't get any of the fun stuff. It's only fun for me when you guys are enjoying this. So hopefully you'll find some fun in this, and I think you find what you look for. And yeah, the game is flawed, and yeah, it doesn't play the same as it did with abilities on. It is a different game, but I think it's different but good in a lot of ways, and I am enjoying it. Even when I lose, it feels like a much better game to me. Total personal opinion. Everyone has their differing opinions, but hopefully you can get to a place where you two find it fun. So I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show. This has been a ton of fun, and hopefully a good state of the league kind of gets everybody understanding what I'm thinking and kind of who I am. I always try to be very real during those state of the leagues. I don't do them often, but they're usually when not fun stuff is going on is when you got to do them. And I think this is the first one I've had to do a Madden 20, so it's kind of a good thing. But hopefully get your games in, get them scheduled. Let's stick with the things that we know. I keep hitting this stupid mic, my bad. This is the bad thing about being close. I get too close to them, but hopefully you guys still enjoy it. Hopefully you'll hang in there for the rest of the season. We'll have a summer league, probably with old school rosters. I think we're going to go with 2002 rosters back from when this league started in 2001. It didn't have enough teams, so we're going to go 2002. Be something fun that we can do, mix it up a little bit, and who knows? We'll just keep having fun and keep producing content, and I'll let you guys decide what it is that you want to see. If you have all 22 ideas, throw them at me, and we'll get some things cleaned up on the website tomorrow. Enjoy your Memorial Day. If you served, thank you so much for serving our country. If your family served, thank you so much, man. And you guys are the reason that we get the freedom to play even Madden. And for the rest of you, hope you enjoy some time off, some time with your family, and maybe you get outside and barbecue the way we did today. That's why I have the double chin, because way too much barbecue. All right, fellas, have a great rest of your week. God bless you. A lot of love from your commissioner, and see you next time. Peace.